Have you ever sat beside your elderly parent or grandparent late at night, maybe in the quiet of the living room, and they look at you, tired-eyed, and say, "I was up 4 times again last night. I just can't sleep through anymore." You nod. You offer a warm smile. Maybe even a cup of water. But deep down you're worried. Because this isn't just about sleep. It's about safety. It's about quality of life. It's about them. Let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself. Has your elderly loved one been waking up multiple times just to rush to the bathroom, stumbling through dark hallways, half asleep, barely steady on their feet? Are you seeing the toll it's taking? The daytime naps that never seem to help. The crankiness, the confusion, the worry etched deeper into their face? You're not alone. Millions of families around the world are quietly fighting this same battle. And most of them don't even realize that something as small, as innocent as the fruit on the kitchen counter could be part of the reason. That's right. Sometimes it's not just age. It's not just medications. It's not just a weak bladder. It's what we feed them. Now I know, you probably think you're doing the right thing by giving them fresh fruits. After all, fruits are healthy, right? Natural, nourishing, full of goodness. But here's what no one's telling you. Some fruits help the aging bladder. They calm it. Support restful sleep. Give your loved one a better night and a brighter day. But others? They irritate it. Trigger more urine production. And rob your loved one of the deep sleep they so desperately need to heal and function. And the truth is, it's not always the fruits you expect. In fact, the 4th fruit on the avoid list? Most people think it's a healthy nighttime snack. But it might be the very reason your mom, your dad, your grandma keeps getting up at 1 a.m. Then again at 3. Then 4:30. So in this video, we're breaking it all down. You'll discover 5 fruits that actually support nighttime peace, helping your elderly loved ones stay asleep longer, wake up more refreshed, and even reduce the risk of falls. And 5 sneaky fruits that might be causing the exact opposite, even if they seem innocent. And here's the best part. You won't need to buy anything fancy. No expensive supplements. No pills. Just smart choices from the fruit basket. So, if this is something your family's been dealing with, if you're tired of watching someone you love suffer in silence night after night, I want you to do 2 things right now. Backhand index pointing right first, comment "sleepless nights" below, so I know we're in this together. And second, subscribe to Thriving Oldies, where we give real, down-to-earth guidance for aging with clarity, dignity, and calm. Because here, we believe the golden years should shine, not be spent pacing hallways in the dark. Let's get into it. The first fruit you need to know about might already be in your fridge. Let's begin right in Grace's kitchen. She's 76, a retired schoolteacher. Lives alone now, but her daughter drops by every other evening. For months, Grace was waking up 3, sometimes 4 times a night to use the bathroom. She thought it was just part of getting older. She tried everything, cutting water at night, shifting her dinner time, even sleeping upright on the recliner. Nothing worked. And then one evening, her daughter brought over something unexpected, a small bowl of tart cherries. No fancy labels. No miracle promises. Just cherries. Grace chuckled and said, "These again? I used to put them in pies." But her daughter gently said, "Try them. Just a handful after dinner." That night, Grace only woke up once. And the next night, not at all. What changed? See, cherries, especially tart cherries, are a natural source of melatonin, the very hormone your body makes to regulate sleep. And as we age, our natural melatonin levels drop. That's one reason older adults have more fragmented sleep. But it's not just about sleep. Melatonin also helps reduce bladder overactivity at night. That means fewer bathroom trips and more restful hours. Now here's the thing most people miss. We often turn to sleep pills right away. But those medications don't fix the underlying rhythm of the body. And worse, they can leave our loved ones groggy the next morning, more prone to falls, confusion, and imbalance. Food can be medicine if we let it. So if you're caring for someone who's up all night, try this. Give them a small handful of tart cherries or a little glass of unsweetened tart cherry juice after dinner. Not right before bed, but with the evening meal. It's simple, it's gentle, and it works with the body, not against it. But what if the problem isn't sleep hormones? What if it's something deeper, like inflammation irritating the bladder, making it send false signals? That brings us to fruit number 2, one that's often overlooked because it's just, well, ordinary. Let's talk about bananas. Now, don't roll your eyes just yet. Because John, a retired mechanic in his early 80s, used to laugh at the idea too. He'd say, bananas are monkey food, not medicine. But he was tired. Tired of waking up with leg cramps. Tired of feeling that constant urge to pee, even when his bladder wasn't full. Tired of tripping over his bedroom slippers at 2 in the morning. Then one day, after a check-in with his caregiver, he was told to try a banana in the evening. Nothing else changed. Just that one banana, about an hour before dinner. And after a week, he noticed something. Less twitching. Less urgency. Deeper sleep. So what's going on here? Bananas are loaded with potassium and magnesium, 2 essential minerals that play a quiet but powerful role in your loved one's nighttime health. They help relax the muscles of the bladder, ease nerve sensitivity, and even reduce that overactive bladder feeling that causes so many seniors to jump up and rush to the toilet, even when there's hardly anything there. Now here's the mistake many people make. They eat bananas right before bed, thinking it's a light snack. But the natural sugars, though mild, can give a small energy spike that disrupts sleep. Instead, encourage your loved one to eat a banana with an early dinner. Let those nutrients settle into the system before bedtime. And if you're worried about sugar, don't be. The fiber in bananas actually helps slow sugar absorption. As long as the portion is reasonable, bananas are one of the gentlest nighttime fruits for seniors. Still, relaxing the muscles and balancing fluid isn't enough if inflammation is irritating the bladder lining itself. So now, let's turn to a fruit that does more than soothe. It heals from the inside. It's small, it's vibrant, and it's up next. Now picture this. A quiet, early morning in a nursing home. Nurse Olivia is doing her rounds, checking vitals, changing bed linens, helping seniors with their morning routines. She's been working there for years. She knows which residents sleep soundly and which ones struggle with constant nighttime wake-ups, many of them with recurring urinary tract infections. Then one day, something clicks. She notices a pattern. The few residents who get fresh berries in their diets, not sugary canned fruits, not juice boxes, but actual blueberries in their oatmeal or smoothies, they complain less about burning, urgency, and nighttime trips. They seem calmer, better rested, more balanced. Because blueberries are like a little army of protectors for the urinary tract. They're packed with antioxidants and natural vitamin C, which work together to protect delicate bladder tissues from inflammation and infections. And if you didn't know, urinary tract infections are one of the most common causes of nighttime urination in older adults. Even mild, undiagnosed UTIs can make the bladder overactive, irritated, and unpredictable at night. Here's where many caregivers go wrong though. They want the benefits of berries, but they reach for berry juices, the kind with colorful labels and sweet promises. But those juices? They're often loaded with sugar, stripped of fiber, and watered down until the real benefits are lost. So here's a better way. Add a handful of fresh or frozen blueberries to your loved one's breakfast. Or blend them into a smoothie with a little Greek yogurt and almond milk. They don't need much, just consistency. Remember, this isn't a quick fix. It's a slow and steady support system for a calmer bladder and fewer 2 a.m. wake-ups. But now let's talk about a fruit that's often misunderstood. A fruit people think makes things worse, when really, it might just be a timing issue. Let's talk about watermelon. Now, this one's tricky. Because at first glance, it makes sense to assume it's a problem, right? Watermelon is, well, full of water. And if your loved one is already struggling with nighttime urination, wouldn't more fluids just make it worse? That's exactly what Lydia thought. Lydia cared for her father at home, an 82-year-old man who loved watermelon like it was gold. She noticed he was waking up 3, sometimes 4 times a night. So she took the watermelon out of his evening meals, hoping it would help. But instead of improving, things got worse. He felt sluggish, puffy, and uncomfortable. Eventually, after speaking with a dietitian, Lydia learned the truth. It wasn't the watermelon, it was the timing. See, watermelon is a natural diuretic, meaning it helps the body flush out excess salt and toxins. That's a good thing, especially for older kidneys that might be slowing down. But if you serve watermelon in the evening, all that fluid gets processed right when the body wants to rest. So of course the bladder wakes up over and over again. The solution? Keep the watermelon, but serve it before 3 p.m. That gives the body enough time to process the extra fluids during the day and calm down before bedtime. And don't overdo it. A few slices go a long way. It's hydrating, cooling, and supports healthy kidneys if you get the timing right. But we've talked about sleep, muscles, inflammation, and hydration. But there's one more thing most people overlook: digestion. Because when the gut is irritated, bloated, or backed up, guess what? The bladder feels it too. And that's where our final good guy, fruit, comes in. It's simple, it's crisp, and it's about to be your new best friend. Let's talk about the fiber-rich, gut-friendly champion. Coming up next. Now let me introduce you to Mrs. B. She's 79. Sharp as a tack. Still plays crosswords every morning. Still insists on brewing her own tea. But for months, her evenings were a struggle. By 11 p.m., she was exhausted. But by midnight, she was up. Then again at 2 and again at 4. Her caregiver, Angela, tried all the usual fixes: early dinner, no drinks past 7, even those absorbent bed pads no one likes to talk about. Nothing changed. Then one day, Angela noticed something. Every evening, just after dinner, Mrs. B would reach for her treat. A few cookies, maybe some cake, sometimes a little soda. It was comfort food. But it was also the trigger. So Angela gently swapped the cookies for something else: fresh apple slices. Crisp, naturally sweet, paired with a few almonds or a little cinnamon. It wasn't a punishment, it was just a small shift. And after a week, Mrs. B wasn't getting up 5 times. She was getting up once. Sometimes not at all. But because apples are more powerful than they look. They help regulate blood sugar, and that's key. You see, blood sugar spikes, especially in the evening, can increase urine production. It's your body's way of flushing out the extra sugar. And that means more bathroom trips, just when your loved one needs rest. But apples don't stop there. They're also rich in soluble fiber, especially in the peel. That fiber aids digestion, keeps the gut calm, and reduces bloating, which takes pressure off the bladder. But here's the mistake many make. They peel the apple. I get it, you want it soft, easy to chew. But the skin is where the fiber lives. That's where the magic is. So if chewing is an issue, slice it thin. Serve it with a little nut butter. Just keep that skin on. And remember, timing matters. Apples are best earlier in the day or as part of an afternoon snack. That gives the body time to digest and balance blood sugar before bedtime. So there you have it. 5 fruits that don't just nourish, they heal, they support, and they give your elderly loved ones a better shot at unbroken sleep. Not all fruits are so kind, especially at night. In fact, there are some fruits that look healthy, that taste sweet, but they quietly stir the bladder, confuse the body, and sabotage your sleep routine without warning. It's time we talk about them. So let's turn the page and dive into 5 fruits you may need to reduce or avoid entirely. What's the first one? It's probably in your fridge right now. Let's talk about a fruit that so many of us grew up trusting. The sweet, juicy orange. Right? Refreshing. Familiar. And for one grandmother I met, not just a fruit, but a ritual. Every evening after dinner, she'd pour herself a glass of orange juice. It was her treat, a tradition she carried from her younger years. She believed it was helping her digestion, helping her stay regular. And sure, orange juice has its place. But for her, it became the start of a nightly struggle. By 2 a.m., she was rushing to the bathroom, half awake, disoriented, and more than once, dangerously close to slipping. Her family thought it was aging. The doctor said her bladder looked fine. But then her granddaughter, a nursing student, dug a little deeper. The answer was hiding in that innocent glass of orange juice. Here's the thing: citrus fruits like oranges, lemons, and grapefruit are naturally acidic. And for sensitive or aging bladders, that acid acts like sandpaper. It irritates the bladder lining, creates inflammation, and triggers urgency, even when the bladder isn't full. It's not just about juice either. Even a wedge of lemon in warm water late at night, something many people believe aids digestion, can be a sneaky culprit. And don't forget those vitamin C supplements either, especially the fizzy ones. They often use ascorbic acid, which can have the same bladder-irritating effect when taken in the evening. But does that mean you, or your loved one, has to give up citrus entirely? Not necessarily. The trick is timing. If oranges or grapefruits are part of their diet, try shifting them to the morning or early afternoon. That way, the body has hours to process the acid and flush it out, long before bedtime. And keep an eye on portion size. Even too much of a good thing can work against you when the bladder's involved. Now let's look at a tropical favorite that's often misunderstood. Sweet, spiky, and served at celebrations: pineapple. Tun's father loved pineapple. It reminded him of home, of the farm he grew up on, the juice dripping down his chin in the summer heat. Now in his 70s, he still ate it regularly. Fresh pineapple juice. Even those little plastic-wrapped cups from the grocery store. But something strange started happening. He began waking up more often. Twice, then 3 times a night. At first, they blamed his prostate. But a few weeks into journaling his meals, Tun noticed something. Every time his dad ate pineapple in the evening, the bathroom visits increased. But pineapple is a double-edged sword. It's high in natural sugar, which stimulates the kidneys to pull more water into the bladder. And it's also acidic, just like citrus, meaning it can irritate the bladder lining and create that uncomfortable sense of urgency. Now, does that mean you have to toss pineapple out the window? Not quite. Try this. Limit the portion size. A few small cubes are enough. And instead of eating it alone, pair it with a spoonful of plain yogurt. Why yogurt? Because it adds a soothing buffer, calming the gut and gently balancing the fruit's acidity. Also, avoid it after 4 p.m. if possible. The earlier in the day you serve it, the less likely it'll show up knocking on the bladder's door at 1 a.m. Now we've seen how acid and sugar can stir up trouble. But next up is a fruit that seems so harmless, so snackable, it's often left on the coffee table without a second thought. Yet it's one of the quietest culprits of nighttime bathroom trips. Let's talk about grapes. Those tiny, sweet, easy-to-grab little fruits we leave in bowls during family visits. The ones we pop in our mouths while watching TV, or sneak into an elderly loved one's snack plate, thinking, it's just grapes. What harm can they do? Here's the thing, grapes are sneaky. They're rich in antioxidants, yes. They support heart health, yes. But they're also a natural diuretic. That means they encourage the body to release water, more than usual. So while they may be great for flushing toxins, they also fill the bladder faster, and especially when eaten in the evening, they set off a chain reaction your loved one can't sleep through. I've spoken to many caregivers who never connected the dots. They say, she hardly eats after dinner, just a few grapes before bed. And yet, every night she's up. Twice, maybe 3 times. But unbalanced, groggy, frustrated. The mistake? Snacking on grapes after dinner. They're light, but they're powerful when it comes to fluid movement, especially in aging kidneys that don't process waste as quickly. So here's what I tell families. If your loved one loves grapes, let them enjoy them, but only earlier in the day, mid-morning, or at lunch. That way, the natural diuretic effect has hours to work its way through the body before bedtime rolls around. And if nocturia, nighttime urination, is already a serious issue, you may need to reduce grapes altogether for a while. See how their body responds. Sometimes, the smallest shift can create the biggest peace. But now, let's circle back to a fruit we mentioned earlier. A summertime favorite. Juicy, sweet, beloved by almost everyone. Watermelon. We already touched on the good side of watermelon earlier in this video, how it hydrates and supports kidney health when timed right. But let's be crystal clear now. Watermelon at night is one of the worst things you can give someone who's struggling with nighttime urination. It's so hydrating, too hydrating. Just a few slices can deliver a large volume of water into the body. And if it's eaten after dinner, the bladder has no choice but to handle that load at night, when everything should be resting. So no matter how nutritious it is, no matter how refreshing it feels, timing matters. Keep watermelon to the morning or midday only. It's not about removing it, it's about respecting the body's rhythm. And if you've ever noticed this yourself, maybe you or someone in your family seems to urinate more at night after enjoying watermelon in the evening, comment below. Yes, watermelon wakes us up. I want to know if you've seen the same thing play out in your home, because you're not alone. Now, there's one last fruit we need to talk about. It hides behind a health halo. It seems innocent, even beneficial. But when it comes to sleep and bladder health, it might be your biggest saboteur. Let's talk about dried fruits. Let's talk about dried fruits. Now listen, I get it. They're convenient. They don't spoil quickly. And they seem like the perfect solution for a quick snack, especially for older adults who may not eat large portions or who need something easy to chew. But dried fruits, raisins, apricots, dates, prunes, even dried apples, hide a tricky little truth. They're dense with sugar. And I'm not talking about added sugar, though some brands do sneak that in. I mean natural sugar, condensed down when all the water is removed. And what happens when your loved one eats that concentrated sweetness before bed? The body responds fast. Blood sugar spikes. Digestion kicks into overdrive. And worst of all, the concentrated fiber pulls extra water into the gut, setting off a cascade of discomfort. Bloating, gut movement, and yes, increased urination. It's like the body goes into cleanup mode, just as the lights go out. That means more bladder activity, more gut pressure, more trips to the bathroom, and less deep, healing sleep. So what can you do? Backhand index pointing right. If your loved one enjoys dried fruit, limit it to the early afternoon. Pair it with nuts or a cup of warm tea. And make sure they're drinking enough water earlier in the day, so the fiber doesn't drag hydration out of their system right before bed. This simple adjustment can mean the difference between a restless night and a peaceful, uninterrupted one. Now let's step back. Take a breath, because we've just uncovered something big, something that's easy to overlook, and yet it affects so many of our loved ones. It's hard, isn't it? Watching a parent or grandparent slowly lose their strength, their sleep, their spark, not from a disease, but from something as ordinary as needing to pee 4 times a night. You see them shuffle to the bathroom in the dark. You hear the sighs, the frustration, the weariness in their voice the next morning, and you feel powerless. But here's the thing, you're not, because what we put in their fruit bowl matters. Those little choices, what time they eat, what they eat, how often, they all shape how peacefully they sleep, how safely they move, how vibrantly they wake. This isn't about eliminating everything. It's about understanding the rhythm of their aging body and working with it. So tonight, before bed, go check your loved one's snack. Take a quiet look at what's been sitting on the kitchen counter. Maybe swap that late-night orange for a few apple slices. Maybe trade those dried fruits for blueberries with lunch instead. Because these tiny changes, they build better nights, They protect against falls. They restore energy. They bring back something so simple, so sacred, peaceful sleep. You don't need fancy supplements. You don't need a doctor's referral. You just need the knowledge. And now, you have it. So don't let it go to waste. You're not powerless. You're informed. And that makes all the difference. So let's bring it all together. Just take a moment with me now. Picture your loved one, peacefully asleep, undisturbed, breathing easy, blankets tucked gently around them. No rushing to the bathroom. No shuffling through dark hallways. Just deep healing rest. That's what we're aiming for. And believe it or not, it can start with something as simple as a few smart choices from the fruit bowl. Let's recap, real quick. 5 fruits to support restful sleep and a calm bladder. Cherries for melatonin. Bananas to relax the muscles. Blueberries for bladder protection. Apples for gentle blood sugar balance. And yes, watermelon, but only when eaten early in the day. And the ones you want to be careful with, especially at night? Citrus fruits, which irritate the bladder. Pineapple, sweet and acidic. Grapes, sneaky diuretics. Watermelon at night, just too hydrating. And dried fruits, dense with sugar and fiber that disturb sleep. Small changes, big impact. Now let me ask you, which of these surprised you the most? Was it the watermelon? The grapes? Or maybe you've been doing something that actually helped, without even realizing it? I want to know. Drop a comment below and share your experience. Because believe me, I read every single one. This isn't just a channel. It's a community. And your story might help someone else going through the same thing. And hey, if this video opened your eyes, even just a little, if it gave you a moment of clarity, or made you think about your loved one's health in a new way, then do me a favor. Click the like button. Subscribe to Thriving Oldies. This is where we talk about the things no one else is talking about. The things that really matter when you're caring for someone in their golden years. We're not here for quick fixes. We're here for real wisdom. For everyday solutions. For peace, dignity, and strength in every season of life. So thank you for showing up, for listening, for caring enough to learn. Until next time, stay informed, stay compassionate, and above all, stay thriving. I'll see you in the next one.